What's up, guys, and welcome to the Protectors of the Endless guide. As always, kind of going to go over exactly what the tanks, healers, DPS kind of need to understand for this fight, and as always, the abilities will be scrolling above my head. The first thing that I want to let you guys know is that in this video we did kill it on Elite mode. If you can get down the Grand Empress, you can get this down on Elite mode. There's really no reason that by this point in the expansion that your gear is not sufficient to do so. Even if you've replaced a couple people, it really shouldn't matter. The gear that you've accumulated since the beginning of the expansion to now, by the time that you unlock Terrorist, should give you the DPS to get this down. Why get it down? Because it's way better gear. You get an extra 7 item levels on the gear, and this is not included in the upgrades. So with the upgrades, this actually makes this gear some of your best in-slot gear until you're doing heroic modes, which is extremely useful. Obviously, it will only help your DPS get better. So let's get into it. The first thing that you have to understand is this is the first fight in Mists of Pandaria that they do not share a health pool. You have multiple bosses that do not share health pools. How you kill this boss is you kill one, the other two gain a buff called Shock Corruption. What that does is it stacks up to 2 times. So when you kill one, the other two will gain 25% damage, they will gain all of their health back, and they will gain another ability. The next thing that happens is when you kill the next one, so you're down to 1 left, he again regenerates all his health, gains another 25% damage buff, and gains another ability. This is what you have to watch out for. This is why if you kill it the way that we did, it actually makes life quite a bit easier. As you can see, what happens is the off tank is pretty much just kiting his 2 guys away from the raid. The reason you do this is it eliminates all cheese, it eliminates any aggro issues, it eliminates anything having to go on with those other 2 bosses' abilities while you're cleaving down your certain boss, okay? We killed it in Regal, Asani, and then the Protector's order. The reason that we did this is it just seemed to be easier. Regal, what does he do? He's the lightning bolt guy, okay? So if you kill him first, you don't have to worry about any of his other abilities, you don't have to worry about the big lightning waves in the room. You just interrupt his lightning bolts, and if you get lightning prison, you make sure that you're 7 yards away from anybody around you. So normally what we did is we kind of kept everybody in towards the middle. If you got lightning prism, you ran out. You do need to stay about 3 yards spread out during that, but that's about it. The second boss is Elder Asani, and what we did here was, again, you have to understand that what he does is he will gain an ability called Corrupted Water, I believe is the name of it. But what it does is it will drop Corrupted Water pretty much right by the boss. If you kill it, everybody inside of that radius of the kill gets a 45% haste increase, which is huge. We also blew hero on this phase because this is kind of your RNG of the fight phase. The reason that we chose Asani second was because he does an ability where he can heal underneath him. He can put a pool of water down and heals underneath him. This kind of removed that entire aspect of the fight for us. Made it a lot easier to just literally just burn through this phase. Just switch to the corruption, switch back to the boss, switch to the corruption, switch back to the boss, and every time you're going to get that 45% haste increase. Again, we used hero here, so we were burning through him, just blowing cooldowns, trying to just literally just mince through this guy so that we did not have to deal with any RNG, with anybody not getting a purge off or anything that they were supposed to. It just made it a lot easier for us, and it allowed us to power through this guy where we could all pretty much just stack up and burn. This actually increased our DPS uptime immensely, as we didn't have to worry about moving out of really anything. We didn't really have to worry about anything but just tunneling into the boss, and that's about it. So as you can see here, that's pretty much all we're doing at this point. As you can see in the background though, tanks, this is important. What the main tank did was he just taunted X over back into the middle. He was in position by the time the next boss died. Good to go, okay? As you can see, you're going to see white pools behind you. What the other tank does is during this phase, the last boss, the Protector, will gain this buff, and he will just beat the crap out of anybody who's in it. So what you're doing is you're just kind of slowly kiting that line across the back of the room. As you can see here, he did a great job with overlapping the circles, so there's still tons of room for the raid to work with. And then the next ability you see is this big white circle that surrounds the boss. This is the ability that he gains. This is the ability you do not want to be in. As soon as you see him drop that, literally the tank runs out to the next part of the circle and you just overlap him around. This is your soft enrage and your enrage timer on this fight. It doesn't matter how it goes. this is how it goes. Like, you have till the room's full. So you're pulling them around, you're pulling them around. It will end up being extremely close. We literally would have had to bring him to the center and then kill him and then hope that we didn't get another one. But our DPS got him down just in the nick of time. This is when you're going to use your healing, guys. Because as soon as he spawns that, Melee's going to get hit like a truck. Anybody in that circle is going to get hit like a truck. It's just easier that way to understand that, okay, like, you know, let's while we're moving, let's have somebody outside blowing a cooldown. That way everybody else is getting in position. As soon as that cooldown's done, we're not behind on healing anymore. The tanks are getting smacked in this. It's just the way it is. I believe we even lost our tank in this one. But, like, you guys just need to make sure that on this last phase, because they're hitting 50% harder. The boss is hitting 50% harder. All those abilities hit 50% harder. And you don't have hero in this phase. So what you're doing is you're literally just kiting in a big circle around the room, and you need to maximize this room, guys. I cannot tell you how imperative it is that you keep him on the outside of the room. If you have him in the inside of the room, you're going to run out of space. You need to do it this way, or you're not going to have enough time for your DPS to get him down unless you use hero on this phase and not on the last phase. And again, that's totally up to you guys. This is just how we did it, so keep that in mind. But again, guys, if you can do all those things, you're good to go. Just make sure that if you kill Regal first, that you're getting interrupts off. Healers, again, make sure that you're assigned to each tank, that you have a good tank healer assigned to each one. Understand what the abilities are, understand what the tanks need to watch out for, and make sure that you're not standing in lightning prison. Make sure that if you get lightning prison, you're running out of the raid. If you kill Asani next, again, you want to make sure that you're in to get that 45% haste increase, and then you can move a little bit. Just kind of stay away from people a little bit. You do need to stay slightly spread out. I think it's 3 yards, but that's about it. And then you're just nuking that boss, making sure that you purge if necessary when he drops his healing ability. The only other thing that you need to do is, again, on this last boss, this is where you're blowing your cooldowns. This is where anything you can do to get this boss down as quick as you can is key. If you can do all those things, guys, this fight's actually pretty fun. It's not overly complicated. There's not a ton of movement in it. Again, as long as you're positioned correctly and positioned in the best way to say, okay, if this happens, am I in a good position? If you can answer yes to that question, you don't need to move. Okay? That's the biggest thing, is am I gaining the most out of being in this position? Am I going to be in the way by being in this position? And is this position good for me to be in at this moment? If you can answer yes to all three of those questions, you don't need to move. For this fight, I found it extremely, extremely useful to kind of just watch the raid a little bit. This was the first time I had ever attempted this fight, and we one-shot it. And again, they had killed it the week before, but I had to work. But anyway, so I wanted to show you guys that this is literally just, if you got that kind of mindset out, you'll be fine. But again, guys, hope you liked the video. Please like and subscribe. See you in the next one.